Hey YouTube, what's going on? I'm back, another guide. This one is on ZvT against Mech in particular, because I've been getting a lot of requests for this type of guide. The style that I play, what units you should be making against Thor, Hellbat, Siege Tank, Mech. So let's get into it. Skip through the beginning here. Alright, so the main idea against with dealing with Thor, tank, Hellion, like really basic mech late game, is the usage of a couple of things. First, you need, in my opinion, a spellcaster. With my style, again, once more with the spellcasters. I know I was pretty heavily favoring the use of the Viper in the ZvP guide that I made against Protoss. And that's because I think Vipers are just an insane unit to add in with your composition. Makes it a lot better. And against Mech, this unit alone is... Oh yeah! I got really unlucky here. He saw my Overlord as I just finished speed. He's doing like a weird bio opening with the mine into Battlecruiser, is what I scouted. I see this after. I see this as a factory, so I know I'm going to be playing against Mech. So my approach to the game is a little bit different. I catch the Hellions here, which is pretty nice. Don't chase with all, because that way he would be able to get more AoE on your lings. I just chase with a few, as many as I need to follow him. Getting a fourth base, actually, it's a bit later than I should have gotten it, but it is what it is. Starting to get my gases, I have my lair. Taking a look at what I have now. Lair's finishing in a bit. My 1-1 upgrades. No Carapace, because against Mech you don't really get Carapace. You prioritize your melee and ranged upgrades because, like Protoss units, Mech Terran units hit very hard. So armor is not worth it early on. There's the Battlecruiser. My initial hold of this was not that great, but you know, we chillin'. Lair. With the lair, I get a Spire soon. I should have gotten it a bit earlier than I'm getting it now. But the main thing I'm supposed to be doing, and another thing I forgot here was the Roach Warren, funny enough, is getting Roachling Bane, maybe, if it's going into Battle Mech, or just getting Roaches to deal with Hellions, if it's standard Mech. Either way, you want to try and get to a hive at a reasonably fast time. If they're going to go for a big siege tank push, then Vipers are very useful for that, for their Blinding Clouds or their Abducts. Not going to be relying so much on Parasitic Bomb as we do with Sky Toss, but mostly Abducts and Blinding Clouds. We have the Spire that we see on the way. We also see that he has the little energy thing going on his Battlecruiser, which only shows if they research Yamato. So let's take a look at the Battlecruiser again, because some people don't know about this visual tell. But if we look at this now, we can see in the middle of it there's orange, and it's getting... The middle part here gets a bit wider. That means they finish Yamato. And if they get Yamato, that means they usually get more than one Battlecruiser. 2 to 3 is the more normal number. Find his Hellions here again, thankfully. My Roaches go in, we snipe another one, or even 2 Hellions, which is pretty nice. They're saturating our third base. Not being as greedy as I can be, but trying to do something here with my economy. I'm banking a lot because I'm just trying to make Corruptors as soon as that finishes, and I don't see any immediate threats. I've dealt with his Hellions early on, so I can focus mostly on upgrades, saturating my bases, which I should do as soon as possible. Getting an Infestation Pit, there it is, and a Hydra Den with the Infestation Pit. The reason behind this is you do want to go into a more Hydra-based composition outside of Roaches, because Roaches, unless you're going for like a Ravager Ling Bane style against Mech, are pretty bad. They only are decent against Hellions, and when you have Lurkers, Hellions aren't really a thing you have to worry about, Hellbats or Hellions, because you can't really get on top of the Hydras at that point. So we get the Infestation Pit at the same time as the Hydra Den, because we're planning on going into decently fast Vipers to deal with any siege tank pushes, as well as getting our next step of our tech. My macro this game is a bit off. Could definitely be doing better here. But overall, this is a pretty okay game. Someone in my last video was telling me to have the units tab open, so I'm going to do that for this game. So I go 7 Corruptors against what I thought was 2 BCs, but he got more BCs than this. He loses 1 here, though, which is very good for us. I think he got pretty lucky with this. He didn't expect me to have so many queens. I like to build high queen counts because they give me a bit of extra security, and I'm able to spread my creep better. Funny enough, my creep spread was not that great this game, but we were doing well. Oh my, the hair is... I'm just gonna pull it all back, whatever. Alright, 5th base, you want to get your 10th, or your 9th and 10th gases as soon as possible. Hive, a bit later than I would have actually wanted it to be, but you know what? Getting it at a decent time regardless. Spreading creep. Also, getting the lurker den. So no real aggression has happened yet, because we've held off everything. He spent extra resources going into a 3rd Battlecruiser. He's lost Hellions left and right, because we're just aware on our map. And now we're making our Vipers. Let's look at the production tab real quick. 4 Vipers on the way. That's the number I like to go early on. 4 to 5 Vipers with an Overseer and the hotkey for extra vision. Because Abducts and Blinding Clouds are honestly the way to just completely crush any tank push, as long as you get Vipers out in time. Okay, Hydra upgrades on the way, a bit later than I wanted to. And getting these gases saturated, and then a few Evo chambers to consume with the Vipers off of. Evo chambers are one of the best ways of getting energy, because they're cheap for a lot of health. If anyone's wondering why Evo chamber is the main building to consume off of, that's why.
The minerals have up and gone.
Right. Queen's still doing a lot. I want to start making lurkers soon once I get my upgrades. Should have gotten them started a long time ago, actually. Because look at my money. Look at my... I'm rich. I'm rich. I need to do something. I have enough Vipers or Corruptors now to deal with the Battlecruisers when they come in. My Vipers are now out.
A creep tumor is under attack.
And then send the Corruptors over to deal with this. I actually really want to get rid of these roaches because these roaches are kind of useless now. They're dead supply. We don't really want them. But we want to get at least something out of them. Okay, Yamato's then teleports out. Terran players usually do that.
Evolution complete.
Get your upgrades, Mac. Come on.
It can't.
Ideally, you'll have both upgrades by now. And then we're just spreading creep over here. Make it harder for him to push. Alright, so now we see him pushing out with a big army. He's maxed, so he wants to throw some stuff away. So we can keep up production. Uses money that he's mining. That type of thing. Doing a little run by with the roaches. Get rid of them so I can make lurkers.
Oh my gosh, they're attacking our creep tumors.
And I'm full energy on these, which is great.
Mineral field
I don't know what my corruptors are doing over here. This is really weird. I think I miscontrolled them. I sent them over there when I meant to send the roaches only over here.
Oh my gosh, they're attacking our creep tumors.
Okay. And now I realize I made a bit of a mistake. My micro here is pretty bad. But we rally soon. Don't worry about that. We start microing properly soon. So the abducts coming in on the siege tanks that are the closest, as well as Thors when I can. Every abduct is basically a dead Thor. If you have units, I don't have any units for some reason. But even still, this fight goes okay. I don't have both the upgrades on my lurkers yet, which is a huge misstep by me. I was actually mentioning that I would have wanted to get these upgrades much earlier. Ideally, you do get them earlier, and you don't forget about them for 2 minutes like I did. Even Grandmasters make mistakes. Anyways, let's fast forward. It is not yet when... this isn't the point in the game when this composition really shines. When you have both of the upgrades, the range upgrade as well as the speed bro upgrade, this army composition becomes very, very dangerous to mech because it's basically as powerful as a mech army, however, its mobility is much higher. Because lurkers with speed can burrow and unburrow instantly. Corruptor's getting a little bit of value here, which is nice. I'm starting to get a higher number of Vipers, and we're spreading the creep on this side of the map as well as expanding to the left side ourselves. Getting these bases back. And soon I start making more Vipers. Okay. When you are going Vipers, by the way, against Mech, one of the things you want to be doing, if going a Viper-based comp, is high numbers of Vipers. People see high numbers of Vipers and see that, wow, that's just kind of redundant, right? Like, all you need is like 4 to be able to get a lot of Blinding Clouds and whatnot down. Well, against Mech, you want to be able to continuously have Abducts up, because every time he sieges a tank, that's a tank you gotta pull in. So 4 Vipers is not usually enough. Going to a higher number, I like to go to 10. Around 10 is a good number for me. It ensures I always have Abducts. Also, Blinding Clouds if I need them against high numbers of Liberators. Abducts here, working out against Liberators, for example. And I still have some energy. Now I'm going to have some more Abducts. He has his army here, so watch. Yeah, he is doing a lot of damage with those Thors, but every time I abduct, a Thor is dead. Every single time you abduct with lurkers, that means that unit is most likely dead. Wow. And we pick off one of the running Thors. So he's kind of on the defensive now. Like, I've got control of this game as long as I keep these alive and micro a bit better. We're chilling. Keeping this side of the map under control, basically. When he starts posturing one side with his units, that's when I want to kind of take control and go for his other bases. We're going to see that happen very soon, I believe, if I remember this game. It was from today's stream, by the way. So if you want to tune in sometime, I stream nearly every day at twitch.tv/Mackintac. Link is going to be in the description below, by the way. And we are just consuming to get more energy back, because we are planning on attacking soon. Pick off a few Liberators with these Queens, but now these Queens are kind of useless. I don't really want them anymore. They're just taking up supply. He's adding a Ghost in order to EMP my Vipers. Alright. Let me show you something really cool about Lurkers, okay? You'll notice Planetaries are pretty hard to kill, because SCVs repairing Planetaries kind of makes them immortal. Lurkers, when they attack a planetary, their attacks go through the planetary and kill the workers behind it. So you're able to kill planetary fortresses very easily using lurkers. Just a fun fact for you guys. His big army's over here. We're going to sacrifice this base just like we sacrificed this one. We got some good damage done. I left a lurker here to kind of control this base as well. Make him actually spend some money to get it back. But now he has a mass Thor composition with Liberators and some tanks. This is what a lot of people ask me how to beat. And this is how. We'll see. Sacrifice the base. You don't want to throw your army away. You want to be patient. Very patient. That's the way to beat Mech. Gonna turn off the in-game sound. And this looks pretty oppressive, yeah. Because Liberators are pretty good. However, check this out. One dead Thor. Okay. Blinding Cloud before I go in. This is very essential, I would say. If you're microing Vipers against Thors, this is what you should do. So, a lot of people don't know, but Blinding Cloud's range is actually further than Thor's attack range with their anti-armor damage. It's, I believe, 11. The same range, by default. But that's the center of the cast. And Blinding Cloud's a decently large AoE. It's like this big. So the center of the cast is here. It actually reaches out to, I think, 13 range total. 12 or 13 range total. So you'll see. You'll see this go on. Before I go in with my Vipers, I Blinding Cloud the front. Abduct, abduct, abduct. Pull back. Then Blinding Cloud afterwards to make it so they can't attack my Vipers after I pull them. think that's the best way to micro against Thors with this. And now I see that he's moving this way. He's kind of trapped here. He can't really do anything. He can't run away. This is a misplay by him, positionally. He did kill 2 bases, but then it's kind of like I sacrificed those bases in order to kill his army. All right. This is actually really scary looking. But we do the same thing again. Blinding Cloud abduct. And abduct the 2 Liberators. And he just lost a bunch of units there. It's actually crazy. Now I'm actually out of energy, basically. I have enough for 1 more Parasitic Bomb. This Parasitic Bomb is doing a lot of damage to these units, by the way. Having the extra energy here is very important. We also picked these off, which is really nice. I didn't notice this, actually. Okay. Send this in soon. Very shortly. I still have the energy. And I know these are hurt. Parasitic Bomb. Big damn. Abduct these in before they siege. 3 dead. And then at this point I notice, okay, I can run in here without really losing many units. Just clean up. There it is. Boom. Boom, boom. Alright, cool. So hopefully this is going to be a much shorter video, I think. There's not too much to go through. The main thing is surviving until you get to your composition against Mech, which is Lurker Hydra Viper. I'm a huge fan of this composition. All 3 matchups it could be used. However, it's worse than some others in certain situations. One of the things that could be very scary against this is the Battlecruiser transition. In which case, we just go double Spire. We already have it. We have the transition ready. Get double upgrades and go into Corruptors. Here we got on top, like in the middle of all of his bases here. His production killed 3 factories out of his 8, it seems. Between his bases, his army can't really get over here to help. And we can just kill this base, this base, this base, this base, and this base. Positioning here is great. I want to go back to the fight again, just to show you guys once more how great Lurkers are. With the combination of Vipers. Okay, not here. A bit later on. Also, when attacking a planetary like this, you can Blinding Cloud a planetary too. To make it not as risky. Maybe just more worth it for you. His army is pretty scary. Thors are a very good unit. Broodlords aren't the greatest against this. So that's why I'm thinking that Lurker Hydra Viper is the better composition here. Though I do like to go Broodlords myself sometimes. However, you have to have an incredible economy in order to pull that off, which you won't have in a lot of games. This composition can trade extremely cost effectively, so it's preferred. So that combined with having a better, more economic power than the opponent usually leads to victories. My opponent here is a 55 or 5400 Terran on the Europe server. I'm playing with a bit of ping, but we can still see I'm pulling this off pretty easily because this is actually relatively easy to micro once you have a little bit of practice. A lot of people aren't too comfortable with spellcasters. Well, the way to destroy, and I don't mean just beat, I mean to destroy compositions like this is to use spellcasters. So, a lot of people are still adverse to the usage of them though. It's kind of weird. Anyways, we saw all that happen again. Step on underneath the Liberators, and we just clean up here. He has no units. It's just W's all across the board for me, honestly. Random siege tank. The purpose of the Lurkers do a lot of the damage, most of the damage against ground units. Whenever you abduct a Thor or siege tank, they basically die instantly because Lurkers do extra damage against armored units. They do nearly double damage, actually. So this makes, if you abduct all of the units into the same spot, the AoE from the Lurkers kills them all instantly, basically. So they're very good for that. They also stop Hellions from running on top of your Hydras, which are light units. They're pretty weak, glass cannon-y. So they help to keep these alive as well. The Hydras are there in order to deal with Banshees, Vikings, Liberators, even Battlecruisers later on when they start mixing those in more. When they start mixing in more Battlecruisers, that's when you can go into your double spire upgraded Corruptors. And then maybe you can go Broodlords from there if the situation calls for it. But for the most part, once you get to Lurkers, you're pretty fine. However, I'd say it's pretty bad to rush to Lurkers against Mech. It's better to get the Vipers out instead and get a Roach Hydra composition going on first, because Lurkers are extremely gas expensive, just like Vipers are. However, Vipers have more utility when it comes to surviving tank pushes. So I'd say if you're trying to survive until mid-late game, or late mid-game, whatever you want to call it, that gray area between Roach Hydra and Hydra Lurker Viper, I'd say Vipers. Roach Hydra can hold most of these tank pushes, all of these tank pushes. As long as you're careful and you're patient, you don't try and run your army in constantly, like a Swarm-style Zerg would do, which you would do mostly with Hydra Lurk, or no, sorry, Lingbane Ravager Roach. If you want to be going for that type of style where you're constantly fighting over and over again, trading against siege tanks, whatever, go for that composition. I prefer Lurker Hydra Viper because it feels more consistent to me. The only issue is kind of surviving till then, which you can do with Roach Hydra Viper. The classic way of dealing with Mech in Heart of the Swarm. Anything else to go over? I'm not too sure. I think I've covered a lot of the bases here. If you guys do have any questions, though, leave it down in the comments below. I will answer. I read every comment. And I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So, that's it for me. I really hope this helped you out. Again, if you guys are struggling with anything, let me know in the comments. I will try and give you the best answer I can. These are mostly videos based on how I play, and I found how I play to be decently successful at a Grandmaster level. It's just a bit more micro-intensive than A-moving all the time, which Mech kind of relies on you to do. They want to catch you being impatient, so their sieged up positions can just totally decimate your A-move Roach Hydra army or whatever you're going for. So the addition of the Vipers makes it so you can actually pick off his army slowly, and in theory, take perfect trades, not lose a single unit. If you micro perfectly, you will not lose a single unit if you use Vipers, in a lot of cases. Anyhow, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Depending on what you guys want, I'll make a guide on it. Alright, see ya. Alright, so actually before we end the video, I just wanted to show another, or a more clear usage of the micro against a Mass Thor army. Because a lot of people come to me saying that they're having a lot of trouble against Mass Thor. So here it is in Unit Tester, which is in arcade game mode on every server out there. We're going to go high impact payload 3-3. All upgrades are researched and on the field terrain. So we're just going to burrow right here. They have Mass Thor. You can do a few things. If they're going to be playing defensive, then this is the exact micro I was referring to, where you Blinding Cloud because you have longer range. The middle there is the 11 range, and the rest is like 12, 13. The attack range of Thor's is 11, so you actually outrange them with Blinding Cloud here. So, Blinding Cloud, shifted a lot of abducts, and then Blinding Cloud underneath. Wow, 3 already dead, and then you just keep abducting them in. And you keep doing the Blinding Clouds. Then they basically instantly die. We lost 1 Viper, we killed like 7 Thors or something like that. A lot of Thors. So now, let's reset it. Let's do, when they're attacking into us, I'm going to show you how good Blinding Clouds are. Just alone. Okay, burrow. Oh, whoops. Steal them off. Okay. Split these up. Let me show you how good Blinding Clouds are, okay? He's attacking in. Blinding Cloud, Blinding Cloud. Blinding Cloud, Blinding Cloud, Blinding Cloud. Just some Blinding Clouds, man. See? All of this, Blinding Cloud again. I keep a Viper alive. It's just that easy, all right? I wasn't even controlling my ground units. I was just controlling the 5 Vipers I had, and I traded that well. How many units did I lose? I don't know. We gotta somehow kill this, but we can't in order to actually show the resources lost and whatnot. But that's just an example of a way to micro. You can practice this yourself in the unit tester. You can practice it against a friend, because you can get a friend to control this army. This is a very useful tool when it comes to practicing using certain units or unit compositions. I highly advise the usage of this, especially with a friend of yours. But Blinding Clouds are really good. Kind of like the same idea with the parasitic bombs from the last guide. I love the Viper. It's one of my favorite units. Maybe I'll make a guide soon that it does not involve the usage of this. But if you want to absolutely crush mech compositions, sky toss compositions, you got to use spellcasters. It's just too good to not use, right? Anyways, this is the actual end of the video. If you have any more questions, once more, please, in the comments below, let me know. Or if you want to ask during a live stream, I'm down to answer. Again, link for my stream is going to be down there below. I stream nearly every day at 1 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. I'm Canadian from Ontario. So, yeah. Anyways, that's the end. See ya.